So before I really delve into this topic, I just want to make a disclaimer, and that's that I haven't completely thought out everything I'm going to say in this video. I'm just ranting and reacting to something that happened because I need to get these damn thoughts off my head, and I think that some people need a wake-up call. So if I say something that sounds horribly illogical or horribly offensive or that you horribly disagree with, well, once I actually think it through a little more, I might also think it's really illogical or offensive, and I might even disagree with what I have to say. But I just need to get these damn thoughts off my head, so here it goes. Since transgender people technically share an acronym with LGBTQ, I forget all the letters at this point, but it may be confusing since we share an acronym with the homosexual and bisexual and questioning community, that sexuality and gender are two very, very different things. And oftentimes, someone's gender transition is not inextricably linked with their sexuality or sexual identity, and someone doesn't need to have a crisis of sexuality to struggle with their gender identity. They're two very, very separate beasts, and it's really shocking and annoying to me that people need that point driven home, but I need to say it because it really, really irritates me. What's even more irritating to me is that it's sometimes the people who are most educated on this subject who still get it wrong. That really drives me crazy. Actually, this whole video was prompted by a discussion that I had a couple days ago with my stepmother, who's one of the most understanding people in the world, and she's really, really educated on gay and transgender issues. She has so many friends in the queer community, and so that actually made what happened with her all that more shocking. The fact that she's so educated and accepting and still thinks this way. Basically what happened, a couple days ago we were in the kitchen having a discussion about my old hormone doctor, who's a male to female transsexual. And my stepmom said, you know, what really surprises me about Courtney is that even after she transitioned to female, she still likes girls. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck? Why should that be a big surprise? And when she said that, it really just rubbed me the wrong way and almost made my skin crawl. Now, I guess it's a legitimate question, but to me it was really bothersome because it carries several implications that I just find flawed and dangerous and really bothersome. And I know that my stepmom didn't directly say it, so I can't say that this was what she meant, but to me, her confusion and her questions seem to imply, one, that it's very shocking that someone could be homosexual after they transition, as if, you know, a homosexual transsexual is an impossibility, or that it would be more shocking than if, you know, your regular old Joe or Jane who was born in the right body is a homosexual. Like, why should it be any more shocking that someone's homosexual after they transition? And that leads me to the second implication, and that's that transgender people transition to a new gender to avoid being homosexual or because of some struggle with their sexual identity. And in my mind, that's just not true at all. I'm not denying that in some cases gender identity and sexual identity are linked, and that as some people struggle with their sexual identity, they also struggle with their gender identity. I know many people who first struggled with their sexual identity and it ultimately led them to transition somehow, but it wasn't because of a sexual identity crisis that they transitioned. It was just that they struggled with their sexuality first, and their sexual feelings made them more aware of their gender issues and the fact that they weren't really born in the right body. Sometimes that realization can't be made until you have sexual experiences and explore your sexuality. But that does not mean that sexual identity and gender identity are the same thing. And just because someone is struggling with their gender identity in the box that society has shoved them in, does not mean that they're struggling with their sexuality or having a crisis of sexual identity. Now, I don't want to generalize, because I recognize that everyone's transition is unique and everyone has their own personal reasons for transitioning, but I think I can safely say that no one's transition is about making their sexuality look better in society's eyes or fulfill some societal norm. Actually, most transsexuals are probably flipping their finger at societal norms. So, yeah. I don't mean to sound like a broken record here, or to say the same thing over and over again using different words or even the same words, but just to emphasize, sexuality and gender are two different things. There's not necessarily some direct link between the two, and certainly not some causal link. To all the straight people who think that transsexuals are transitioning to be heterosexual just like them, or to the queer people who think that transsexuals are transitioning to avoid being homosexual, you're wrong. You're just wrong. And if you don't get that, your mind is small, and there's nothing that I can say here that will change that. So, I'm sorry. I just have to end this before you all go crazy from me talking too much. So, see ya.